So we come here to practice, so use the time. Yeah? Most of our effort goes into samadhi first. Yeah? Be with the Buddha or be with the breath until all the thoughts and all the memories stop. And after that, we can go into investigation. And what do we investigate? We investigate this body. The body that is born, the body that dies, the body that gets old, and the body that gets sick. Everybody goes through these cycles. Once we are born, we go through these cycles until death. And then comes the next life, and then the next life, and the next life. And we are here, and we have the opportunity to end this, to end samsara, to end the cycle of birth and death. Or, in other words, also to end dukkha. But that's not what I want to talk about. Today I want to talk about something else. Recently I was in Bandar, or before that in Chiang Mai, and I do hear the monks and the lay people talk about this monastery, and they say, the style is very much the same as the style of Wat Pha Bandar. And some of the lay people or the monks say, even the teaching that is here, or that I give, is very similar to Lungta Mahaprabhu's teaching. And that is what I tried when I created this temple, to make it as much or as similar as possible to the style of Wat Pha Bandar, like Lungta Mahaprabhu had his own monastery. And also including the teaching. I spent 15 years with Lungta Mahaprabhu, so I do know a little bit about his teaching. I practiced under him, for quite a while. And so I tried, with putting a lot of effort in it, to make this monastery very similar to the monastery of Bandar, when it was still under Lungta Mahaprabhu. Now it has changed a bit, quite a bit. And also the teaching. But I'm not sure if I can continue with this. Seems to be not possible anymore. How did I come to Bandar? I still remember, it was in August 1990, just after a very nice retreat, meditation retreat with my first meditation teacher. I suddenly knew after this retreat that this is the end, that I have to go into homelessness, that I want to pursue the path, the path of practice and not the path of working. It took me about half a year. I left my job, I left all my belongings behind me, had everything what I needed in my backpack, and went to England. In the meditation center, what was it called, Gaia House, in western part of England. There I stayed for 4 months, practicing. But the problem there was, it did cost a lot of money. One meditation course, staying there, it did cost a lot of money. So, this wasn't anything, even though it was very good, very helpful. Because I could practice, except for 3 hours of sleep the rest of the day, doing walking meditation, doing sitting meditation. And I got quite deep into samadhi. But I couldn't sustain this kind of life, so I was thinking about another opportunity or possibility, and then my first teacher suggested, to go to one of the monasteries in in England, yeah. I mean, Ajahn Sumedho's monastery, so I went to Chithurst, yeah, stayed there for a while. But the problem was there was not really teaching, yeah. There was not, I mean, not to my liking. The teaching was not to my liking, not to my satisfaction. And most of the time they didn't even practice. They worked, worked, and hardly practiced. And if that, if we had morning and evening chanting, and there was a little bit meditation session, all the monks, fall asleep. Yeah? Some of them even fell over while doing meditation. So this wasn't the place for me. even though because of I mean they had a working day from what was it, 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock till 5 o'clock, yeah. with a little rest, yeah. Midday rest, yeah. This wasn't I could still keep up my meditation, but this wasn't the thing that I was looking for. I went to most of the monasteries in England. Yeah. I spent a long time, in Chithurst, and a long time in Hanam, and a few months, in Amaravati. Yeah. But it's always the same. So after 1 year, I decided, okay, that's not it. Yeah. And then, then I decided, okay, yeah, I mean, somebody, a teacher, from Germany, Ayakema, invited me to her house. Yeah. That was even worse, I mean, we just worked all day. Yeah. I mean, we had to provide for all her meditation courses, and we didn't even have time, to meditate or practice on our own. And then I decided, okay, that is also enough. And also the teaching, I mean, even though the teaching was much better than everything that I had before, yeah. But it didn't satisfy. It didn't satisfy me. I mean, they couldn't answer me the question how to overcome greed and hatred. And that is what I, felt most, and that I knew I had to overcome it. Yeah? I just couldn't let it go, I mean, just like everybody told me, just let it go, don't dive into it. But it still came up, so I mean, I said, that is not the way, yeah? That's not the way. I knew from one of the meditation teachers that I met in Gaia House, the first time, she gave me a book of Lungta Mahabor. It was called Straight from the Heart, yeah. So I read it and I knew, okay, that's where I have to go. He knows the truth. But it was in Thailand, and that's why I looked, in England and in Germany, for a place, maybe the Dhamma is also there. But I couldn't find the real Dhamma, in Europe. So finally I had to go to Wat Papantat. So I went there to Wat Papantat. Yeah? When I came in, the monastery was empty. There was nobody there. It was completely quiet, completely empty, as if nobody is living there. So I went up, I saw the sala, yeah, the meeting place, just like here the sala. It was a little bit bigger, a wooden structure. But behind the sala there was a little Namrod place, where there's for hot drinks and cold drinks. And there said, Ajahn Panya. So I wrote a letter to him and asked if I could come. And he actually replied. It was mostly amazing. So and I talked to him, and yeah, he said, yeah, sure, you can come, you can stay here, and then I stayed here. And the next morning, I met, in the sala at the morning meal, I met Lungta Mahabor. And the moment I saw him, I knew, yeah, I mean, he is my father, he is my mother, he's my venerable teacher, I have found everything that I needed, this is the place for me to stay. And also the monks, they were my brothers and my sisters. Yeah? I mean, I felt completely, at home. Yeah? Like I never felt at home in my own family where I was born. So I stayed there. I stayed there for 15 years. Yeah? And in the beginning, yeah, I had, when I was a layperson, I was a layperson for 9 months. I never had the intention of ordaining. Yeah, I just wanted to practice. But then one of the monks, Ajahn Tik, asked me, why don't you ordain? And I said, okay, why not, I mean, what's the difference, yeah? And then I ordained, yeah. And once you ordain, I mean, you come into a certain rhythm, yeah. I mean, you have to learn a lot of things, yeah? You have to learn how to dress, you have to learn how to behave, yeah. You have to learn the 227 rules, so that takes a lot of time. And not only that, I mean, you also, as a monk in a community where you live, you have duties. And the duties, for young monks, except, for sweeping in the morning and sweeping in the afternoon, there was also the duty now of looking after cleaning up the sala after the meal, yeah, was divided into several groups. But also, I mean, some people, after the sweeping in the afternoon, the senior monks, took care of the sala, coconutting it, I mean, the wooden floor, with coconut shells, And we as young monks, we had to pump the water from the well and distribute it all over the monastery. So, I mean, we had carts, where we went to all the toilets, cleaned the toilets, yeah. Put the water, filled up the water buckets, and then filled up, all over the monastery because there was no flowing water. That took quite some strength and quite some time, but this was a duty. And then, the moment I stood longer, I mean, people started, I mean, to call me, come help me with this, come help me with this. Ajahn Panya, he wanted, his Patipada, to be printed, so I had to make the layout for him. Yeah. Ajahn Tik wanted some English English translated talks, to be printed in book form, so I had to do this. Yeah. And then the Thai monks, asked me to help here and help there. Yeah. And then, over the time, I understood, I more or less understood the structure of the monastery. Yeah? So there was the Ajahn, yeah, I mean, who gave the teaching, who went out, on invitations, to give a talk here and to give a talk there, or to receive Papa here or receive Papa there, and then there was the monk, who looked after the monastery, while he was, during he was gone, during the day that was called Praveen, yeah. I mean, he had to look, after, the visitors, greeting the visitors, and looking after the visitors, yeah. So, but this was a shift, there were 3 or 4 monks, I mean, who, did it for 1 week, yeah. Then there was the monk of Namron, that was for the younger monks. Yeah? And they had one week, looking after the Namron place, the hot water place. So they had to boil, they have to come in the morning at 10 o'clock and boil the water and prepare all the pana stuff, yeah, for the monks and for the lay people. And it took them from 10 to 2 o'clock, every day. Yeah. But that was not all, Then there was the Upatak, yeah, of Lungta Mahabor, who looked after his kuti and after his clothes and so on. At the beginning, when I came, there were 2. Ajahn Tik was one of them. I mean, he was Upatak for 18 years. 18 years, yeah. I mean, he was every day. He was there when he was not, going on too long. Yeah. I mean, he was looking after Tanachan for 18 years, and then Lungta said, okay, that's enough, 18 years, I mean, and there was then only 1 Upatak, yeah. In the beginning, there were 3 Upataks, I'm constantly looking after, yeah, I mean, without a break, yeah. Then there was the secretary, and there was a deputy, yeah, who looked after the administration of the monastery, I mean, so who told the monks, what to do, where cook, or where they can stay, it was something like the custom. But he had also other duties. Yeah? Every day, he was transcribing the talks of Lungta Mahabor, yeah? And then also the transcribed talks, putting into book forms. I don't know how many 100 books, were printed of Luang Mahabo's talks. Yeah? So he had to look after that. So he was busy, 7 days a week. Yeah. And then was the secretary. Yeah. The secretary, who was receiving the mails and who was organizing all the meetings that, people invited Lunta to. So in the afternoon, after Lunta Mahabod took a shower, he went to him, and explained to him, what was there, or if there were letters to sign and things like that. Yeah? And that was a job 7 days a week, for years on end. There was no break, yeah. And because of the workload, became big and bigger and bigger, there were 4 other monks who helped him, yeah. I mean, one of the monks, I was recording the tapes, all the talks, that Lumta gave in the sala, and making copies of it, 200, 300 copies a day, and distributing it to the lay people. The others helped, with the computer work, to write the letters, or to print posters and things like that. Yeah? And my task, not only for Ajahn Panya and Ajahn Dik, I also translated some of the books into German, yeah, or some of the talks into English. But that wasn't my main work. My main work was collecting all the talks that Luang Mahabod was giving from 1960 that were on the big reels, reel to reel, yeah, and copying them to digital data. And then, yeah, and not only that, that was from 1960 to 1978, yeah, and from then on, were all the talks on cassette tapes, So because it was at the time, it was the end of cassette tapes, so people didn't have any more cassette players, they wanted digital media. So his talks on digital media, because it was the end of the cassette tapes. So it was over 800 talks, always talks to the monks. Yeah? I had to listen to them, I had to record them, onto digital media. Once it was on the digital media, I had to clean up the talks, and I was busy for nearly 10 years. Every day, 7 days. 7 days a week. In the evening I was meditating, in the morning I was meditating, yeah, trying to squeeze in some of the practice, but during the day I was mostly working. Yeah. Also helping the secretary with his work, making backups and so on, all the computer stuff that they were not familiar with this, yeah. In these 15 years I had only not even 3 years, nearly 3 years, of solitary retreat, yeah. When I went on to Dong, for 3 to 5 months, yeah, most of the time 4 or 5 months, but sometimes, when it was very busy, only 3 months, yeah. In these 15 years, yeah, solitary retreat. But I never complained. No, I said, I came here to practice, just like the monks here do. I came here to practice. I'm not here to help. Yeah, I'm not here, to do some work. Yeah, that is a problem. Yeah, and then after that, I still was. Yeah, when I was finished with the audio tapes, I had to do all the video tapes. Yeah, the recordings, at all these places where Luang Mahabod went, that went on the video tapes. Yeah? So I was busy all the time. But I never neglected my practice. Yeah? I always practiced. Yeah? And doing things, yeah. And that, yeah, because probably, I lived in a Thai monastery with the Thais, they do everything for their Ajahn. Yeah? And here they only complain, this I don't like, that I don't like, this is not comfortable, that is not comfortable. I never heard that, in Wat Papantat in the 15 years I was there. Never heard that. I don't like this, why should I do this, why do I have to do so much, I came here to practice, I also came to practice to Wat Papantat, I still could practice, And especially, the teaching, the teaching was so important, When I came to Wat Papantat, the question I had, how to overcome greed and hatred, Lungta, and everybody in the West told me, just let it go, don't dive into it, don't delve into it, Lungta Mahaprabhu said, it is impossible, you cannot do that. Tell her aunt that is, at the top of the ceiling, to go to the floor, and tell her, let go, and it instantly goes to the floor, But this aunt doesn't know the command, let go. The aunt only knows putting one leg in front of the other, So it goes along the ceiling, goes down, at one of the columns, until it hits the floor. And when Lungta Mahaprabhu explained that, I understood it. So the practice is like what I said. I don't know if I said it to you. The practice is picture investigation of the body. That's how you overcome greed and hate. And he explained it so often. The investigation of the body, inside, outside. First, getting the chitta out from the body, and looking at the body, and then, overcoming the likes and the dislikes that are inherent with the body. Because everything that we like, everything that we dislike is in connection with the body. It has nothing to do with the other things. Feelings that come from the body, the body itself, the senses of the body, it's all with likes and dislikes. So if you overcome the body, if you investigate the body thoroughly, and see, where likes and dislikes are coming from, then you can overcome greed and hatred. That is the only way. And that's what he said, that's what he teach. And the moment he said it, I understood it, it was so clear. Yes, that's the way. And that's the way of the Lord Buddha, the Lord Buddha teaches the same thing. Investigation of the body, investigation of the 5 khandhas. And the first khandha that is so obvious, is the khandha of the Buddha, of the body, including with bodily feelings, of course. So. But now I after coming back, from Pantat, about a week ago, I realized, I cannot do this. I cannot preserve the same style, as Lungta Mahaprabhu, not in this monastery, not in the teaching. Nobody appreciates the teaching here. People don't appreciate it, they're just like, I don't know, And they are not willing to put some effort in it. Some effort, to maintain the monastery. So, a week ago I realized, I fulfilled all my karmic obligations. I don't have to teach anymore, and I don't have to stay here. I built up this monastery. I renovated the monastery, built up to a very nice place. But now it's time for me to leave. I've done my share. If people don't appreciate it constantly, disrespectfully, towards me, I don't have to take it anymore. Before I had to take it because it was my karma. But now I know the karma is over, I don't have to take it anymore. I don't have to teach anymore because if people don't appreciate it, I don't have to teach anymore. And I don't have to be in this place. So I'm looking for another place where I can stay by myself and just practice. That's what last time, I mentioned something, probably in anticipation, of the knowledge that came up, just like the knowledge that came up, 30 years ago when I knew, I had to leave my job, was so clear, so I left my job, and went into homelessness. Now I can leave this monastery and live, and go by myself and not being bothered by anybody, Especially ungrateful people, yes, I know, we all come from the West, we are never grateful to our parents. Yeah? Whatever they done to us, they cared for us for 20 years, but we are ungrateful. We don't give them, we don't show them the respect that they deserve. Yeah? And that's the same here. Yeah? I mean, you treat me the same way as you treat your parents. Yeah? Yes, of course, I should be here for you. Yeah? I mean, when you look, when you look at the monks, especially also at the monks, yeah, when the monks take this dependence, yeah, on the teacher, what do they say? Yeah, the teacher, I am the burden of my teacher. Yeah, they know that, so they are the burden of me. Yeah, but the second part of the sentence is the teacher is my burden. Yeah. And they fail too, yeah? They just fail, yeah? In this respect. I don't seem to be a burden, yeah? All the people, yeah? I mean, but it is, I don't blame you, I just want you to understand, I often talk about gratitude, respect, generosity. And generosity is what I put, all the effort I put into helping to spread Lunga Mahabua's teaching, or building up this monastery and trying to preserve his teaching. Even how the monastery is run. I try to preserve it as much as I can, but now I feel I can't do it anymore. Because there is no support. Everybody wants, is needy, I want this, I don't like this, I don't like this, and they're not grateful for what is given to them, and they're not respectful, So why should I stay here? My karmic obligation is gone, I'm over with, I've done enough, I've done these 30 years, I've done so much, for the community, for everything, I taught for more than 20 years, Probably 22 years, since 2002, So why should I stay? Why should I, be constantly, meeting the faces, Okay, that's all what I wanted to say, Okay, you can go. Go back to your practice. Use the time. The monastery doesn't disappear. I just disappear. Fed up. So I understand what I said last evening. Doesn't mean that I'm leaving today. I mean, I still have some commitments to honor. And also, I have to find a place where I can stay that is a bit remote and suitable. So it will take some weeks or maybe some months. It's quite common, I mean, Lumpoli, one day, he just disappeared. And nobody could find him. He was gone for 3-4 months. Nobody could find him. And then the lay people asked, what happened? Why did he go? And then they found, 2 or 3, obstinate monks. Then they removed them, and then Lumpoli came back. I mean, they just, some of the monks, just, are so obstinate, that the teacher doesn't see any other reason than to leave. Lumpur Bunmiyai as well, And I went sometimes to his place, I mean, the monks, were just treating him like a little kid, And then, one day he decided to leave, and then he never came back. I mean, it doesn't doesn't mean, an Ajahn is an Ajahn, but if the disciples don't listen to him anymore, or treat him badly, then he has no more obligation, to stay here. Same. What? I mean, what? I mean, most of the things, said yesterday, concerns the monks, Sometimes, there are some lay people who come who are a little bit obstinate, But, they don't stay for very long, And sooner or later I will kick them out, But I was mostly talking about the monk, Who's constantly demanding. And we all come from the West, And we know that, we take our parents for granted, that they have to do everything for us, but we don't have anything to do for them, And that is the same attitude, And that was one of the reasons, why Lungta, what was it, 85, decided not to take any more foreign monks. He said, they are constantly demanding this, they want this, they want this, they are not happy with this, they are not happy with it. I'm not taking any more Western monks, And at the time, in the beginning, he took quite a lot of Western monks, There were 9 Western monks, at the time Lumpu Ajahn Suchai came, 9 Thai monks, 9 Western monks, But, then they left, when I came, it was a wonder that he accepted me, After 10 years, of not accepting any Western monks, and I met quite a few, they had all to go to Nanachat, and ordain there, So he accepted me, and then after that, I had to train about 7 or 8 monks, Western monks who came there, And then after Lumpu Panya died, he said, you can take care of the Westerners, So, but it's quite common, So, even Lungta Mahabor got upset, with the Westerners, So it's because they're demanding, And when we look at our own childhood, when our parents said, help me with this. How willing were we? Not very willing, we constantly, every one of us knows, including myself, I had to learn it, Mostly the Asians are not like that, People who were raised in Asia are not like that, But some of them, coming, to the same education is coming now to the Thai people, and they start to be just the same as us, demanding. When you read the first or second chapter of Life of Inequality, Lungta Mahabor was talking about 30 or 40 years about that. He talked about, the trees, about the sons and the daughters, just like trees that don't give shade, and they don't have fruits, they just suck up all the water, and leave the other trees dry, These are the people, and we talked often about it, And, I put, 30 years of energy into the spiritual community. I put all my effort, all my work, into the effort. But I don't get anything back. That is, that is the reason for me. I give up. Okay, that's all what I want you to know.
Not so sure.
What?
Not so sure.
What?
You might disappear, but your legacy might stay. You never know.
Whatever. I have no plans. I'd never had any plan, to leave, until I know, I go for my knowingness. Once I know, I have to leave, then I leave, And what happens next, I don't know, I will know, maybe in 1, 2 months or 3 months, I will know what to do next, I go for that, I don't plan anything. The only thing, that is in plan is a visit to Singapore and Indonesia.
But I remember your teachings. I'll remember your teachings.
What?
I will remember what you taught me. So that will continue.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I remembered what Lungta Mahabor told me, and I tried to put it up into. Yeah, but I failed. Yeah. Okay. We have to watch out for forest fire. Yeah. I mean, there are stuff to burn. The fields around our monastery. I mean, the other monastery already catch some fire. If anyone sees, I mean, inform the others, you can put it up. Same thing in Pantat, was always every year was on fire. I mean, the farmers just burn the fields, and then it catches the monastery, catches the fire, yeah? And then, at 2 o'clock in the morning, there was a big bell going, and all the monks had to run out of the kuti, and throw water, to put out the fire, yeah? And when I went to Dong, I mean, even Cooper Richard yesterday said, I mean, he saw some fire coming up, so I was encircled in fire, I mean, every time, so I mean, it was this time of the year, it was quite fun.